Many people hate the metronome, so they never use it. They're wrong. Then there are people who know rhythm matters, so they use a metronome all the time. They're also wrong. A metronome can help you develop great timing, but only if you use it correctly. And rhythm is one of the most important things in music, if not the most important. So in this video I'll show you how to use a metronome to build a great sense of rhythm, how to use it when learning songs, and how to use it to build speed, because most players are using it wrong in all three areas. A metronome is the simplest, cheapest coach you can get. It immediately tells you when you're rushing or when you're dragging. Even being slightly off, I think 1 BPM, compounds quickly. So if you never use a metronome, start using one, because your internal sense of rhythm probably isn't as good as you think. Now if you use a metronome all the time, that's also a problem, and there are two reasons. Having a perfect even rhythm makes a piece sound robotic. Listen to this. And now I'll vary the tempo a little bit. Sounds much better, right? Slowing down and speeding up adds emotion to a piece. And the second problem is you become dependent on it. You can play perfectly in sync with a metronome, but once the click stops, your accurate sense of rhythm stops, because you've never taught your brain how to keep a steady pulse by itself. So now we have a problem. Never use a metronome? Bad. Use it constantly? Also not ideal. So what should you do? A solution often offered is to always use a metronome in exercises like the spider walker skills, since they sound robotic anyway, and then play songs without it, with your newfound internal sense of rhythm, which is a good start. But the problem is that this often doesn't work, at least not beyond the basic level. The metronome's paradox. A metronome is great for telling you where your timing is off, but isn't that great to develop better timing? And to understand why, we can look at what science tells us. Researchers asked people to tap along to a metronome, and then when the external click stopped, the study subjects were asked to continue tapping. And then they compared the brain activity between the two. What they found is that several areas of the brain involved with timing were more engaged when the external click was gone. So the takeaway is simple. If the metronome does all the timing for you every time, your brain doesn't have to work as much. And that's one reason why some people can play perfectly along to a metronome, but then drift without it. So how do you actually build great rhythm? Use a metronome and then gradually rely on it less. I'll show you with a simple arpeggio. A minor, E major, D minor, back to A minor. Step 1. Play with a metronome clicking every beat. Do that until you're comfortable playing along to the click. Step 2. Now reduce the clicks. Have it click every other beat. If your metronome can't mute beats, cut the BPM in half. Step 3. Reduce it again. One click every 4 notes. Now you have to keep the space between clicks steady yourself. Then every 8 notes, then even less. When you do this, you develop the area of your brain responsible for your internal sense of rhythm, but you still have a metronome telling you if you're too fast or too slow. If this feels hard, good. That usually means you're doing the right thing, but here are some tips to make it easier. Count out loud to the metronome, tap your foot, or start bobbing your head. Everything to make you physically feel the pulse. A metronome is also incredible when learning new songs. It allows you to tackle challenging sections, whether it's a difficult rhythm, awkward chord changes, fast picking. Everything is easier when you slow it down. The big question is, how slow should you start? Start at a tempo slow enough for you to play it perfectly. I often like starting at half the required tempo. This allows you to build the correct muscle memory from the start, and in a study comparing top to bottom performing students, slow practice is the one practice habit that all top performers did. Building speed with a metronome. Once the tempo you're playing at feels easy, and you can play it multiple times in a row correctly, increase the tempo by 5 BPM, maybe 10, depending on the passage. Then repeat. That's how you build speed cleanly. And this is much better than trying it without a metronome, because you can measure your progress. Bonus tip, go above your target tempo. If the song is at 100 BPM and you can play it cleanly at 110, then 100 feels easy. Especially when playing for others, easy is exactly what you want. So, to recap, use a metronome to check your timing, use it less and less to build your timing, use slow tempos to learn songs accurately, use gradual tempo increases to build speed. In this video I quickly mentioned that better players practice differently, and slow practice was one of them. Two other big differences are how the top players responded to mistakes and how many correct reps they did in a row. And I break all of that down in this video right here.